Hey everybody, ever have one of those vacations that, might not have been so vacationy? Like it just seems like every time you turn around something goes wrong. Well, I just got back from one and let me tell you, I don't know. My kids were really surprised, I guess, at the general coolness I had throughout the whole thing because it was what you might consider a series of unfortunate events. It's one of those stories that if you start telling it, it's actually kind of painful to tell because it like just keeps going on and on and on. And it's like, well, when will the bad stuff stop? And it's not like, I mean, nothing was seriously bad in the sense of, there were no broken bones, nobody had to go to the ER, but a lot of bad stuff happened all at once in the midst of this vacation. And it just kind of goes for the year. I really do think that for me, the year of 2025 so far has been just a series of unfortunate events. But I'm hoping by telling this story, I can give you just a little bit of, hey, this is how to get through this. Because I was really having to use all of my coping skills to deal with the crazy stuff that was going on. So I think the first thing is this is a weird thing where I tried to combine a family vacation with my side hustle. And starting this, the first piece of advice is don't do that. Like I won't ever do that again. I was trying to save money on transportation more than anything else. But it was just silly. Like I shouldn't have done it that way. I could have done it differently. And in the future, I will not do that. But because it was sort of what do I say? Because it was a family vacation and we were trying to go to this convention and do some stuff for my side hustle at the end over the weekend after the vacation. It was one of these things where there were just details that that had to be taken care of before we left that you wouldn't take care of on a vacation. Like so, I think the first thing to note is highly don't recommend mixing a vacation and some kind of business thing, especially when you're like a family business and you're trying to do family vacation and then do family work like right after. That's a bad idea. I won't do it again. I was just being cheap. And so shame on me for just being cheap. So anyway, the first thing I started to know that I was gonna have trouble is we ended up with some situation where originally the whole family was going to be there the whole time, vacation plus do the work thing. And then my new daughter-in-law, like her day job got conflicted and she had to come back early. So what we were going to do like car wise and all this to go on this trip didn't work out the way we thought it was going to. And I should have known right then that the mixing the vacation and the thing was a bad idea. But at this point, we had already like locked in the Airbnb because again, we've got a large family, right? I've got two married children, plus my other son, plus me and my wife. Like just hotel rooms for that is super expensive. So we typically, if we vacation, we Airbnb, but we had already like booked that months in advance. So it's the kind of thing where, well, we couldn't change that plan. We couldn't come up with a new thing because it was just going to cost too much in fees to Airbnb. So anyway, we stick with it and it's like, okay, well, we'll work the cars out. Well, then we got the display we were going to use at the convention kind of put together and realized, oh, we've got these 8-foot poles, like 2x4s basically, that are part of this setup. And they're not going to fit in a vehicle because originally the thought was, well, we'll take 2 SUVs, right? We can kind of pile the stuff in and go. And that wasn't going to work because we just couldn't fit physically the stuff wasn't going to fit in the space of and have people ride in it. So I decided I need a trailer. Well, originally I was going to buy a trailer and it's like, well, I don't know that makes sense either. So went down the U-Haul route. And the next step is, well, okay, my SUV didn't have a trailer hitch on it or anything. So I went to go get that taken care of. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll put a trailer hitch on. I might need to do this again. No big deal. After talking to the dealer, they're like, yeah, no, it's like a $2,000 retrofit because your vehicle was never designed to have a trailer on it. And I was like, oh, well, that's not going to work. But luckily, my in-laws' truck had a trailer hitch, but this vehicle has been run, like, because of all the challenges earlier this year, this vehicle hasn't been run except for like one, 4-hour trip to get it physically here to my town in like 6 months. So it's had like one trip in 6 months. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll drive it, but I'm going to need to do some service. And so took it in to get the AC fixed, everything on it, and was good. But the one thing I didn't check, and I don't know that the, tire place could have, or, oil change place could have done this, but I didn't check out the actual like light plug-in for a trailer on his vehicle. Didn't check it out beforehand, but had it all ready to go. So at the end of the day, we're getting ready to leave, and I really hadn't checked out the vehicle. The other thing is, there was some testing that happened of the stuff for our display. And so what had been packed nicely and ready to go was then taken apart and used and all this, and then just sort of left behind on Friday, because we're going to leave on Saturday. But I didn't think much of that either. It's like, we'll get everything and it'll be fine. Well, okay. So I guess the first thing to note is, if you have any inclination that you might leave something, or something might need to be tested in advance, or anything like that, you should listen to yourself. Like if you've got an intuition that something could go wrong, then go dig into it and figure it out, because I totally screwed this up. I knew I should have checked out this whole trailer situation sooner, but I didn't. And I knew that when we unpacked stuff to check it out, we should have made sure we repacked it exactly as before we left. And I didn't do either one of those. I was in a hurry. I was thinking about other stuff. Still need to do laundry. That's what it really boiled down to. I was dealing with laundry, dealing with other vacation stuff. So anyway, then Saturday rolls around. We're getting ready in the morning, and I head out to get the trailer, and the lights don't work. The backup lights, turn lights on the trailer don't work. And the guy at the U-Haul place, look, this is something with your truck. So after a bunch of messing around, buying new adapters, blah, 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 we get the fuses fixed. And that's what's wrong. And on the one hand, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, apparently my stepdad had never, or not stepdad, my father-in-law had never done a trailer. He just didn't know it didn't work. So I got it fixed. No big deal, other than we're an hour and a half late now, right? Because I'm running all over town trying to fix this. Because apparently it's not something that like AutoZone can test for you. Like you have to have the trailer to plug it in. And anyway, it was just a big deal. So already we're behind. And at some point in this, I had texted my kids to say, hey, just have everything ready to pack up. And they text me back something about a door lock. And I was like, what do you mean door lock? I didn't understand it, but I was so busy trying to fix the trailer that I didn't get it done. Well, then I finally get home. I got the trailer. We're all ready, blah, blah, blah. It took us a while to get packed up. And so now we're 2 hours late leaving. And so again, this, under different circumstances in life, I think I might have already been like super upset. So we get to the office, and now I get like I call my daughter, say, hey, we're headed there, meet us there. And she's like, well, that door is still locked. And I was like, what? And then it dawns on me what had happened. So I have no idea. Nobody knows who did it or why or how, but there's some interior door that's sort of between one of the exterior doors to the office and everything else that had gotten locked. Nobody knows who locked it, why it got locked, whatever. But it was locked. Now, the funny thing about that is, I also have another interior door in my house that I locked. That door I remember locking explicitly to keep it safe before we left. The door between my garage and the rest of my house, I locked that, made sure that was locked and have the key with me and all that. But this door in the office has never been locked that I know of. Like, I don't understand how it got locked, but nobody knows. Nobody knows. So anyway, we had to kind of like go through a different door, and then I scrounged around and I found the actual key for it. And so we'll never have that problem again, but it just delayed us some more. And so then we're in a bit of a hurry to like actually pack up. And so as we're packing up, we're putting everything in there, and the little printers that we tested the day before, I get those loaded up and they fit nicely in the box and all this. And we go on about our business. We get out on the road. And so overall, we're now, I think, 3 hours late. But the way we scheduled the day wasn't too bad. Like we had a long travel day. We didn't have anything we had to do that night other than get some groceries. And so it was going to be okay. And so I think that's the thing to remember is, especially if you got an extended vacation, you're trying to do a lot of different things at once. Just give yourself a lot of time. I mean, the one thing is we could have left on Sunday instead, but I was like, let's leave on Saturday and plan for an easy leave in the morning and all that, given all the moving parts. And so if you are going to do a family business thing, just make sure to bring give yourself space. Give yourself space to have stuff screw up, because the day wasn't over. So we get to where we're going, and I get the trailer unloaded, and then I go to start the truck because we're going to go to the grocery store, and the truck won't start. And we're in an Airbnb, like in a neighborhood, very residential, like bunch of ranch style houses that's on the edge of a I don't remember, it's cornfield, but on the edge of a field in a small town in Michigan. And it's like, what are we going to do now? Right. I'm going to have to, and this silly thing about it was, this is so crazy. My, father-in-law had jumper cables in the back of his truck already. But I have the fancy jumper cables on a battery thing, that I thought to put in the car, but I'm like, I'm not going to need that. I'll leave that behind. I've got jumper cables just in case, but I've got no reason to need that. Oh no. Apparently the laptops and the phones and all that in the car driving up there pulled more power than the alternator was putting into the battery. So we're sitting in the chair, we're sitting in the driveway with dead battery. Can't start the truck. Now luckily the neighbors in this Airbnb, next to this Airbnb, they were just out. It was, Saturday night, they were out watching fireworks or whatever was going on in the neighborhood. And so they came over and gave me a jump start, and we were able to leave the car running while we went and got groceries, and it gave it enough battery. But looking at the battery, like the vehicle's a 2018, it was the original manufacturer's AC Delco, battery. So clearly it had just reached an end of life. And even though we got it started again, we probably wouldn't. So I got a new battery the next morning. And at that point, we're thinking, cool. Okay. I got up early, got the battery. We were able to go get some groceries. We did all the stuff. My other kids then finally showed up. We all had a nice dinner and stuff, and then went and got groceries, and it was all good. And now, while we're getting groceries, my wife and I's phones just start going off with the alarms from the house. Like my home alarms are going off. And it's like, oh, well, it turns out it was our friend that was coming to take care of the cat had set off the house alarm because he had the key code to the garage door, but I had locked the interior door that kept him from getting inside because I was trying to be more secure. So here we go. We've had our second lock issue. Now, luckily, he was able to get a house key from somewhere else, and that got all taken care of. But again, this is like one of those, I'm sitting here going, oh, the only way we're going to be able to take care of the cat now is if I drive home and drive back. And that's what I'm thinking, right? And, the day before we'd had 4 different unfortunate events. So now we're on to number 5. And I'm just like, is this vacation ever going to take off, right? So long and the short of it is he gets another key, gets the cat. It's all fine. Problem solved. No big deal. And really what was surprising to my kids is at no point in any of these things breaking or whatever did I freak out, melt down, get upset, because I'm normally a schedule person. We need to leave on time, got to be there. I'm the kind of person, if you tell me there's a party at 6 p.m., I'll probably be there at 5:55. And that's military training, my parents, whatever, like I'm an on-time person. So having all this stuff that put me so far behind would have in the past, I think, just caused me to melt down. But I feel like this year, with all of the chaos and crazy, like whenever something bad and unexpected happens, it's like, of course it did. Of course that's what happens now. So anyway, the long and the short of it is we get to so now Monday we go through and the day is fine. Other than now my wife doesn't end up feeling well. There was something she ate, something she's not feeling well. But that kind of vacation problem, I mean, anybody could have that. And it, the kids were able to keep doing stuff and I was able to take care of her. It wasn't a big deal. So then the next day, kids are driving the car and somewhere in the process of changing drivers, the car keys to our second car got left on the roof of the car. And then they took off. And apparently the engine will keep going when that happens. So now we've lost the keys to the car. Now, thank God my wife actually had the second set of keys in her purse. And so we were all fine. And again, we got this taken care of. It was no big deal. But that was one like, oh no, what are we going to do? Because I don't know how when you've, stopped the car and you're in a neighborhood, like how do you fix that when it's this modern electric stuff? Because I'm pretty sure you have to have it towed to a dealer. And like it was late at night by the time we figured out this all had happened. But pretty sure you have to have it towed to the dealer and have the dealer do magic on it to get it back. And we're not in that state. And so who knows what paperwork or whatever they might need to prove that it's my car and all that. But again, we found it and no big deal. So anyway, long and the short of it is we think we're done. Like they always talk about bad stuff comes in threes. So finally we get to the end of the vacation. My younger son and his wife go home. We go off to our convention thing that we're doing. That is the business side of this. Now we've transitioned into the business side of it. And we get there and we realize, oh, wait, those printers that we were testing out back in the thing that had been all packed up nice and everything was good. But then we unpacked them to test them out. We forgot to put the power in it. We forgot to put the actual power cords in the packing stuff we were doing. So anyway, now we got to go figure out how to like get new power cords for these little printers we have. Luckily, that we were able to find a replacement, but their power was just a little off. So every time you printed something, it would print the first page of color, like it's a 4-pass system in this photo printer, and then it would just stop because there wasn't enough juice from these alternate power cords we got to print the whole thing. Eventually, we figured out that if you tone the color down a little bit, darken them a little, then it uses less yellow. For whatever reason, yellow required more juice, and we could print them out. But it was just like one thing after the other. And so as I think about that, I really think it's just a matter of, I kind of think it might be COVID. I think COVID broke me from a travel perspective, because it seems like what little travel I did in the middle of COVID for business, everything was broken. Like the airlines didn't work. Like you couldn't rent a car. Like the list of stuff right after COVID or at the end of COVID when you could start to travel again. Every time I travel was broken. And so I just have like zero expectations that when I travel somewhere that things are going to go work out. And so it's just obvious when these things, locked doors, blown fuses, battery that doesn't work, it's just going to happen. Like these things happen. So I don't know how helpful any of that was to you. This was just cathartic for me. I just wanted to get it out because it was a crazy thing to have all of this stuff break like on the same day or within a couple days. Never seen anything like it. But that's just been my year. It seems like this year, everything that can go wrong does go wrong. And I just have to kind of say, okay, well, I'm going to have a positive mental attitude about it anyway, because I can't change any of these things. Once the keys were gone, they were gone. So can't fix that. Melting down about it isn't going to solve any problems for anybody. So let's just be problem focused. So I guess the net of it is, if you're traveling and you're having bad issues, you're just in good company. We all have bad issues when we travel, and hopefully you can find a way to just go, yep, that's what happened, and move on with it and solve the problem. But otherwise, just a long story today. I'll see y'all next time.